It's the average hockey fan, aka Scotty2 Hockey, and the Columbus Blue Jackets have swept the Tampa Bay Lightning to win their first round in their franchise history since they were established in 2001. And as for Tampa, this has to be truly heartbreaking. This is a team who has been so close to the Stanley Cup over the past few years. They've been to an Eastern final last year. They were to a Stanley Cup final before that. They won a round prior to that. And they were just, this year was supposed to be the year where it was all supposed to culminate and snowball into them winning a Stanley Cup, dominating in the playoffs. Instead, they become the only President's Trophy winner to ever get swept in the first round, and they completely fall apart in the first round. The offense didn't show up, and in my opinion, they're the best NHL team, period, to lose in the first round. The only other team close to them, the only other team President's Trophy winner close to them to lose in the first round like this was Vancouver back in 2012 to LA. Vancouver lost in 5, so they salvaged the game out of that. They lost in 5. They were a big cup favorite that year after having a devastating year the year before that, where I believe they lost in the final, if I'm not mistaken. And the 70-71 Habs, they didn't get swept, or the 70-71 Bruins, excuse me, when they lost in 7 to the Habs. Yes, they didn't get swept. They didn't lose in 5. They lost in 7. But they were a heavy cup favorite, and nobody gave Montreal a chance that year. And a young rookie goalie named Ken Dryden came in, stole the show, beat Boston in 7, went down to beat Minnesota, went down to beat Chicago, made history, won the Habs another Stanley Cup, and established that dynasty in the 70s at the beginning. And after that, the 70s were owned by the Habs, as we know. As for Columbus versus Tampa Bay, in Game 1, it was a pretty close game. It was a 4-3 game. Columbus pulled out a 4-3 win. After that, it was all Columbus. 5-1 Columbus wins Game 2. Then they go back to Columbus. They win. It was a pretty tightly contested Game 3, yes, but Atkinson buried it with that big goal in the third period, and Columbus won that game 3-1. And in Game 4, it was all Columbus. Yes, Tampa showed a lot of fight up until the midway point of the second period. Point ended up tying it up at one point, making it 3-3. After Tampa was down 2-0 at one point, it ended up being a 3-3 tie. After that, it was all Columbus. Columbus won the game 7-3. The Cannons were fine in Columbus. Clearly, Columbus's GM made a good move by going after Duchesne at the deadline because he was big in this series, by keeping Panarin and definitely by keeping Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky pretty much got him into the playoffs by standing in his head at the end of the regular season, and now he's being paid off for it in the playoffs because their big players are stepping up in front of him, and he's making big saves himself. Tampa Bay is the first team to win the President's Trophy and get eliminated in the first round. Of course, I've already mentioned that. They have the Vezina favorite and the Hart favorite in Kucherov and Bobrovsky this year. They have the defending Norris Trophy winner from last year, even though he missed a few games in his series, the injury Hedman. They're the top 5 best team of all time if you look at them points-wise, wins-wise. And as far as wins-wise, they're tied for the most wins ever all time with the 95-96 Detroit Red Wings, who definitely didn't lose in the first round, that's for sure. And you look at Tampa's Big 3 versus Columbus's Big 3. They're, like I wrote down their Big 3 options. As for Columbus's Big 3, I had Panarin, Duchesne, and Atkinson. And for Tampa's Big 3, I wrote down Stamkos, Kucherov, and Point. I'm going to start off with Tampa's. Tampa's Big 3 had 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, a -8, 2 penalty minutes for Stamkos. Excuse me, that was Stamkos's. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, -8, 2 penalty minutes. Kucherov had 0 goals, 2 assists, 2 points, was a -4, and had 19 penalty minutes, and he only played 3 games because he was suspended for 1 for a very dirty player where he tripped a player, knocked him down, and then tried to hit him up against the boards. And Point had 1 goal. It was in the last game. 1 goal, 0 assists, 1 point for Point, a -5, and 5 penalty minutes. And then you look at Columbus's Big 3. Columbus's Big 3 is a whole different story. Duchesne, had 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points, a +5, and had 0 penalty minutes. So they stayed out of the box. This was a big part of how Columbus won too. They were disciplined, they stayed out of the box, and they drew penalties when they had to. They frustrated Tampa to the point, even where refs were letting everything go, Tampa was making obvious penalties that you couldn't not call. And then you got Panarin scoring 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points, was a +3. He had 0 penalty minutes. And then you have Atkinson, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points, was a +5, and had 0 penalty minutes. And I also have to give an honorable mention to Zach Werenski. He's top 3 right now for Tampa in the playoffs, but these are for Columbus in the playoffs. These are Columbus's Big 3, though. And then you look at the goalies, there is no comparison numbers-wise in the playoffs. In the regular season, Vasilevsky has far superior numbers, but right here in the playoffs, Vasilevsky's numbers are brutal. In the regular season, Vasilevsky had 39 wins, a 2.40 goals against, .925 save percentage. In the playoffs, He's 0 for 4 in 4 games, couldn't steal one game, had a 3.83 goals against, almost got scored on 4 times a game, and a .856 save percentage. So his numbers plummeted from a 2.40 GAA in the regular season to a 3.83 goals against, and then a .925 save percentage in the regular season to a .856 save percentage in the regular season. That's what they got from Andrei Vasilevskiy this year. He is a huge part of why they lost this series. Yes, the offense didn't show up, but Columbus played a great trap system in front of him, and Bobrovsky was excellent too, because Bobrovsky had 4 wins in 4 games, 2.01 save percentage, 2.01 goals against, and a .932 save percentage. So that's 4 wins for Bobrovsky, a 2.01 goals against, and a .932 save percentage. You look at it side by side to Vasilevskiy, it is night and day different. Columbus 100% deserved to win this series. Their top guns showed up offensively. Their defense was awesome. Seth Jones was driving players crazy out there. He was super physical. Columbus was the more physical team. Tampa just didn't seem to have any fight back to him. They tried to fight back a bit in Game 4, but by the time the third period came, it was all Columbus, and you knew Columbus was going to win. Congratulations to Columbus, and a big part of why they won, not just Bobrovsky standing on his head, not just the offense showing up, and not just the defense being solid, was John Tortorella's system, his trap-like system. It almost seemed like every time a Tampa Bay player had the puck, there was 2 Blue Jackets on them. They left no room up the middle of the ice. They forced everything to the outside. Columbus never got trapped in their own zone at any point in time, ever in this whole series. And they had Tampa playing with running around with chicken with their heads cut off in their own zone, and it didn't even look like the same team. They completely eliminated the Lightning's free-for-all, coming up the ice, cycling, scoring a lot of goals, trapping you in your own zone, having a big power play. They didn't give him a chance to utilize that big power play. They took very little limited power plays, and Columbus 100% deserved to win this round, and John Tortorella is one hell of a coach. That's all I got to say. This is epic. For Columbus to never win a round and win a round like this epically, congratulations to the Blue Jackets and congratulations to their fans. And I honestly feel really bad for Tampa. This is the biggest team ever to collapse in the first round, and not only did they collapse in 4 games. They got swept, and they weren't even close games after the first one. So I don't know what Tampa's going to do. They might have to do something with their coach. I like him as a coach, but clearly he hasn't got the job done, and this is a pretty big way to fail after a huge regular season. Maybe he's just not cut out for the playoffs like they think he is. Maybe they're going to retool a couple things, move a few guys out, and bring in a few new names, or maybe they're just going to keep the same team together if it's possible. I know they have a lot of cap problems. I'm not exactly sure with Tampa's situation, but we'll see. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. Do you think this is the biggest upset you've ever seen in the playoffs and the biggest first-round exit? In my opinion, it 100% is. Not just in the NHL, not just in the playoffs. In sports in general, this is one of the biggest first-round exits I have ever seen. It absolutely shocked me and blew my mind. It's almost like when Columbus went up 2-0. I had a feeling going back to Columbus with that cannon fire and the way that building is that they were going to take this series over in Columbus, and they did it. So thanks, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Please ring the bell for my upcoming videos. Help me get to 100 subs. I would truly appreciate it. Leave a comment and leave a like if you can. Have a great day. This is Scotty2Hockey, a.k.a. The Average Hockey Fan. Over and out, folks.